We all have big hopes for 2026, with the big one being prosperity, right? As Real Clear Politics pointing out, President Trump has been cleaning up President Biden's affordability disaster. Steve Forbes is the chairman and editor-in-chief of Forbes Media, joins us now. Steve, great to see you. Happy New Year to you.
Good to be here, and Happy New Year to you.
You know, I appreciate that. A lot of us are looking to the new year, to 2026, for a little bit more money, a little bit more prosperity. Overall, do you have a positive message as far as the economy goes? Money in our wallets, our pocketbooks. Will that increase? What is your outlook on 2026?
Well, it should be a good year. Secretary Besson has pointed out people are going to get big refunds in April, which means we were overtaxed in the past. That's why that big, beautiful tax bill that the president passed last year is going to be very crucial, especially giving incentives for businesses to invest. Without investment, you don't get a higher standard of living. You don't get higher wages. Of course, the president's going to have a big battle with the Federal Reserve as he tries to get them off this idea that prosperity causes inflation. So that's going to be a big fight. I think the Supreme Court is probably going to give him an adverse decision on tariffs, so he's going to have to figure out where to go from there on that. And so that's going to be something he's going to have to deal with. And another big issue is going to be health care. President Trump, I think, recognizes that we need to do for patients what we've done for parents in education, try to give them control of the money. And that's what we have to do in terms of health care. So he's got some reform ideas. If he gets those through, that'll be a reform of epic proportions.
That's a lot that you just laid out there.
This president doesn't hesitate to take on a big plate.
No, absolutely. And one of the things on that plate are the items of tariffs, right, that were enacted by the president without congressional approval. And that's the pushback that we've seen, obviously, in the court system and now sitting with the Supreme Court. Did I hear you say that correctly? You believe that the Supreme Court will rule not in favor of the president on tariffs?
I think he's going to get an adverse decision on that. They're not going to go in favor. What I think the Supreme Court will do is rule that tariffs already collected, the tax money already collected, will not have to be returned, since it was done in good faith. It's been done for years. So, but going forward, you're going to have to get it through Congress or some other mechanism.
Interesting. Okay. I want to move on to this. You mentioned taxes, and I can't help but mention the big, beautiful bill, because inside of there, and you touched on this, alluded to it, going into effect, no tax on overtime, no tax on tips. This is a big one. No tax on Social Security. Also a child tax credit and a whole lot more in there, including deductions for car loan interest. Bottom line is this: can American taxpayers see more in their refund check in 2026?
The answer is yes, their cash flows will improve. But also, though, I think the president, given the state of the world, what's happening, should go for another what they call reconciliation bill, and that is another tax cut, reducing personal income tax rates across the board. He wanted to reduce the business tax from 21% to 15%. He should push that again. And another thing is to cut the capital gains tax. Nice thing about cutting the capital gains tax, Shaun, is that it raises revenue immediately, overnight, as people cash in past gains. Good for the getting capital flowing again, helping the housing market, and all those good things. So go for another bite of the tax cut apple.
Yeah, you're going to need Congress, right, in the midterms in 2026. That's another one to watch for as well. I did want to ask you about federal income tax. This president has hinted on several occasions that he'd like to get rid of that. Many people, I would argue, would side on the side of the president on that, getting rid of the federal income tax. But is that a real possibility in your mind, Steve?
Well, short term, the math is going to work against him. We collect $2.5 trillion a year of income taxes, and tariffs, $300 billion, $600 billion, depending on the Supreme Court rules.
Sure.
So there's a big delta there. Moreover, 40% of American households don't pay income tax, so you're going to have to do something for them. So I hope in the interim he goes for a flat tax, which gets rid of most of the code, cuts the rates for everybody, and allows resources to go for real things instead of spending literally $300 to $500 billion a year, Shaun, complying with this monstrosity. So go for that. That, I think, can be doable short term, and then we'll see what he does in the future.
Are you going to charge the president for this advice? This is good stuff.
No, it's free, my gift to him for the new year.
Yeah, belated Christmas gift. Happy New Year to you, Steve Forbes.
Thank you.
Steve, thanks so much. Appreciate
Good to be
it.
with you, Shaun. Thank you.